Okay, Mr. Wastek, this is the second worksheet that I was talking about. This is the closing cost worksheet. So this will give you an indication of what your closing costs look like. I know your company is picking them up, but I want to show you what your costs are and how we can use some creative thinking and out-of-box thinking to get your cash to close lower. So let's say we go with the highest purchase price. I know you were thinking of maybe a little bit lower, but I'm going to show you the 500,000. So 500,000 purchase price, down payment of 50,000. Our first loan amount is 400,000. We are taking 4.5, 30-year fixed, amortization over 360 months. So our monthly principal and interest payment is 2,026. Other financing is 218. That's for the other 50,000 that we are getting. Hazard insurance or the homeowner's insurance, $80. Monthly taxes, 1,042. No mortgage insurance. Comes to the same payment, 3366.74. Now let's take a peek at the closing costs. Our closing costs, the origination fee is $895. That takes care of all your needs: appraisal, application, underwriting, processing, not appraisal, I'm sorry, processing, underwriting, application, credit report, whatever you want to call it. We are lumping them together in $895. Your appraisal fee is $360, and those are all the closing costs that we have. These are guaranteed, will not change. Now I'm assuming you're going to have an attorney, $450. Title services, I'm assuming this is a third-party cost. This is what you would see in Illinois for that kind of priced home, to $2,500. Keep in mind this is a third-party cost I'm estimating. In case they are lower, obviously you'll pay lower, but this is what I'm going to go with. This is what I tend to see. City county tax stamps in Naperville. I'm assuming you're buying in Naperville. If not, it will be different. But in Naperville, city of Naperville charges buyer $3 for every 1,000 in purchase price. Those are called tax stamps, and that will cost you $1,500. So altogether, your closing costs are $5,705. That's what your company is picking up. Now I'm going to assume, since I don't know and we don't have a contract, I'm going to give you prepaid interest for 15 days. When you're buying a house, I'm sure you remember from the last time, the month that you're closing in, whatever number of days are remaining, including the day of closing, they will charge you just interest. No principal payment is expected at that time, just the interest for the number of days remaining in the month. Then you don't have a payment the next month, and you'll get on your regular cycle after that. You do have to buy homeowners insurance upfront for 1 year. Based on the 85 a month, we came up with 960. Again, if you can find it cheaper, that's what it will cost you. Your hazard insurance, now you will also put it in prepaids. You'll be escrowing. So $240. I know you're buying a whole year's policy, but the way it works is they will also be able to collect 2 months in advance, and they're allowed to hold 1 month extra just to make sure that they will have enough funds when the next year's bill comes to you, because if you're escrowing, they will be paying it on your behalf. These are county taxes in state of Illinois. In DuPage and Will County, we pay our taxes twice a year, 1st of June and 1st of September. I'm going to assume if you start an escrow account, they will take around 4 months up front to start an escrow account. So when the bill comes due, they will pay on your behalf, and you will pay 1/12 of it every month. So total expenses, including the interest, insurance, reserves, and reserve for the taxes, come to $6,381. I don't think this is what your company is going to pick up, so I'm going to leave it here. Now let's see how much cash to close we need. So we have a purchase price of 500, prepaids of 6,381 comes from here. The 5705 comes from the total closing cost. So altogether we need $512,086. Now we have a lot of credits coming to us. So our first loan is 400,000, so that's a credit. Subordinate financing is 50,000, that's a credit. Seller paid prepaids. In state of Illinois, we pay our taxes in arrears. So what that means is when you go to the closing, they will give you the credits for the number of months that they have lived in the house and were owners. So I'm assuming 6 months, so which comes to 6,252. Like I mentioned yesterday, you might not be uh, it depends on when you close. You might get more months because our second bill is due on 1st of September. Usually when the bill is due within 60 days of the closing, the title company will make the party responsible to pay right at the closing, or they will hold it in escrow. So I don't think you'll have access to the tax bill for 2010, but for 2011 you'll get 6 months. the seller paid closing costs. I'm calling it seller because I want to show you something. I know your company is paying 5,705. So you come down to 461,957. All these are credits. So we need 50,129. Everything, your prepaids from sellers takes care of your prepaid, so you don't have to worry about it. So what I'm going to suggest how we can do this. Let's not escrow. If we don't escrow, if you think you can manage your money well, it's only a cash flow issue. You still will owe money. So instead of making 1/12 of a payment, you will have to save that money, and when the bill comes due on 1st of June, you will 1st of September, not this year, I'm sorry, 2012, 1st of June and 1st of September, you will have bills due that you'll have to pay out of your own pocket because you would not be escrowing. By not escrowing, you would save the 4 months of taxes, which are $4,168. You'll be able to use that towards your closing cost. And if we were to ask your company if they would pay your closing costs if the seller was to pay the closing costs. So let me give you an example. Let's say we are buying the house for 500,000. How about we say we are going to, let's say the purchase price is 495, and we say, guess what? We will pay you 500,000, but give us the 5,000 back towards our closing costs. If we could get those 5,000 from the seller and your company would still reimburse you for your closing costs, then you will have that extra money to use towards your closing costs. So let's say you had 6252 from your seller, okay, for 6 months of taxes. It comes to plus another 5,700 comes to 11,952, so which is almost $12,000. So now we were buying a house for 500,000, and we had talked about that you had around 35,000. We were 15,000 short. By using these two strategies, you could come down to needing only an extra 3,000. So you will have to come up with 38,000 because 12,000 could be coming from these sources. Give me a call and I'll walk you again through this. Sometimes, people moving from different states have a really difficult time understanding a real estate tax structure. I'll be happy to do that. But I think the two questions that you need to ask, first of all, I would say if you're doing two loans, I can waive your escrows, so you do not have to put your taxes in escrow, but you will be responsible for paying them next year. You can have the use of funds today. Secondly, ask your company if they will still reimburse your closing costs if seller was taking care of your closing costs, which I have seen a lot of companies agree to that, because at the end of the day, doesn't matter, you still have closing costs no matter who's paying them. So let me know what is the best thing for you to do, and we'll go from there.